What's going on, guys? We're back. We're back with these NFL prediction videos as we get closer to the NFL season, which training camp starts in less than a month, believe it or not. So, with that being said, let's jump to the predictions. We have the AFC South today, and the AFC South is an interesting division because 3 of the 4 teams, in my opinion, are or should be rebuilding. And really with all these teams not really making any moves this offseason at all, it seems like we're in for a very one-sided division as far as Jacksonville dominating. But again, who knows the way the NFL is? So let's start with the Indianapolis Colts. So the Colts now with Steichen as their head coach, Anthony Richardson is the future. But I don't know if they're going to start Anthony Richardson start out, even though it's what Irsay wants. So that first game, I'm going to go Jacksonville, and I'm really going to go the Colts really struggling early on because of them figuring out the whole quarterback situation. I think they will beat the Texans, though, who are kind of in a worse spot than they are, even though they have Stroud. Week 3, we're going to go Ravens. I'm going to pick the Rams in week 4. The Titans are another team, too, that has a lot to figure out. I'm actually going to pick them to beat the Titans that first time at home. I think they'll drop 2 to Jacksonville. They'll drop that one to Cleveland because Cleveland is better. Week 8, I think this is about the time where they maybe start to figure some things out. So I'm going to have them actually beat the Saints but lose to the Carolina Panthers in those 2 weeks. That game in Germany actually have them over the Patriots going into their bye, and which have them at 4-6. And then after that, I'm going to have actually Tampa Bay winning this game. And all of this kind of depends on when Anthony Richardson is going to play. But, yeah, I have Tampa winning that game. I have the Titans getting them the second time. Obviously, I have to lose to the Bengals. I think they actually kind of match up well with the Steelers because both teams are really good defensively. I think the Steelers are a bit better, but that might be a matchup the Colts can do something with. I'm actually going to pick them over the Steelers there. And then I'm going to have them beating the Falcons. Then I'm going to have them losing to the Raiders and then beating the Texans to close out the year. So that has the Colts at 7-10. A good step in the right direction now that they have their quarterback of the future. But with Anthony Richardson still kind of being a project guy and a new coach coming in, I think 7-10 is about right. So as we talk about rebuilding teams, let's talk about the Houston Texans next, who now have C.J. Stroud, they went and got Will Anderson too, so they have their cornerstone pieces on both sides of the ball now. But again, they have a lot of work to do. So no way in the world they beat the Ravens to start the year. And obviously they have to lose to the Colts. I think they'll lose to Jacksonville too. Lose to the Steelers. I think they'll even lose to the Falcons. Lose to the Saints. So I have it a pretty rough 0-6 for the Texans to start out. And then coming off their bye, Stroud versus Bryce Young. I don't see them beating the Panthers either. That Panthers defense is too good, even though they've just got their quarterback now. I think they get their first win against Tampa, if I'm being honest. And then maybe that's even being generous. But and then going down, even though I get DeMeco Ryans a very good coach, but yeah, like the Texans were just left in such a bad spot. They just have so much ground to gain. They won't beat the Bengals. I'm gonna pick them over. Again, this is gonna just depend on when Kyler Murray comes back, if he comes back at all this year. I'm gonna bet that he doesn't come back at this point. I'm actually gonna pick the Texans over the Cardinals. They're not getting a win against Jacksonville. I'm not even picking them against Denver. I think they do get a win against the Titans, as we have the Jets winning that Week 14 matchup already. I'm not picking them over the Titans when the Titans are at home, but I do think they will get one over on them. And then, I don't think they beat Cleveland. And then, like I said, they get that one over the Titans. And then that loss to the Colts to close out the year. So I have the Texans at 3-14, even though the future looks bright. Maybe that might be like lowballing them a little bit, but seeing as the Texans, the Texans have 2 or 3 wins last year, so it's kind of about where they were last year. Kind of building something, but again, like I said before, still a lot of work to do. All right, let's keep it going with the Titans. And again, the Titans are in this weird, we're rebuilding, but we're kind of not. We have Tannehill, but we took Levis, and they didn't get rid of Derrick Henry, so they're kind of in this weird limbo spot. I think the Saints are going to have a lot of momentum starting the year with new quarterback Derek Carr and all that. So I'm going to have them dropping that one. I'm actually going to pick them in what you could call an upset to beat the Chargers. I'm going to pick them over the Browns too, in fact. And then I'll have them losing to the Bengals. I was going to drop them ones to the Colts. A London game with the Baltimore Ravens. And I'm actually, maybe it's one just great Derrick Henry performance. I think Derrick Henry's kind of on the downhill of his career now. Maybe he has one vintage moment, and I think they'll beat the Ravens going into that bye. Coming off of that bye, I'll take them over the Falcons there. I'll have them losing to the Steelers, and then I'll have them losing to Todd Boyles and the Buccaneers, actually. And then week 11, I'm going to pick them, because it's a division game, I'm going to pick them and take that first one against Jacksonville, and I'll pick them over the Panthers. And then I have, in previous videos, even in this video, the win over the Colts, the loss of the Dolphins, the win over the Texans. I really like the Seahawks this year, so I'm going to take the Seahawks in that matchup. Then I have the Texans week 17, and then I'm going to take Jacksonville in that week 18 game. So I have the Titans at 8-9, which I think they're an average team, so an average 8-9 is kind of where I see them being. And then to close out, let's go to the Jaguars, who look pretty good right now, especially after the season they had last year and the way they came back. They have a lot of momentum after last year. And I think that's going to continue right into next year with the win over the Colts. I actually think they'll get revenge over that playoff game and beat Kansas City. I think that's just an early matchup, Kansas City, that's not really in final season form yet, or in the season form yet. So I just see them winning that one. I have them over the Texans. I'm going to have them. London is almost a home game for them. I'm going to pick them over the Falcons. I have them beating the Bills in back-to-back London games and have them beating the Bills too. Then I have them over the Colts. So I have them starting out 6-0. And then Thursday night against the Saints, it seems like a trap game. So I'm going to pick the Saints there. And then I'm going to pick the Steelers there so they have a brief 2-game skid going into their bye. Then after the bye, I think is where they pick it up. They beat the 49ers. They lose to the Titans, but they get the win over the Texans. I'm going to have them actually beating the Bengals. And then have them beating the Browns as well. They beat the Ravens last year. I think the Ravens get their revenge. Week 16, they beat Tampa. And you know what? I think Bryce Young in his rookie year has a standout game. They actually lose to the Panthers there in week 17 to surprise some people. And then to close out and beat the Titans in week 18. And I have the Jacksonville Jaguars at 12-5 in Trevor Lawrence's third year, Doug Peterson's second year. So to wrap the video up, looking at the division standings, again, I think Jacksonville's the only playoff team in this division. So I have the Jaguars at 12-5, the Titans at 8-9, the Colts at 7-10, and the Texans still kind of slumping down there at 3-14. So let me know what you guys think about my picks.